Alright, welcome to an episode of Fresh Friday where I introduce new circuit boards for the CobraPin products. So up today I have two boards. There's the branch boards and then the twig boards. And both of these are intended to make connecting your serial LEDs much easier. So let's go ahead and break some of these off, and then I'll show you how they work and how they make the situation a little bit easier for connecting lights to your pinball machine. So I'll just break these on the edge of the table here. There's your twig board. And there's your branch board. Okay, let's go over the branch board first. So as you can see, we've got an input connector and an output connector. And these are high current connectors. They're capable of 7 amps continuous, which is pretty good. You can use 18 gauge wire on the mating connectors, so carry a lot of current with minimal voltage drop. And then here in the center, we've got the JST XH connectors, which are intended for lower current. I think they're rated for 3 amps, but this is what you normally would connect to your LEDs like on my other LED products. So the idea here is that you have high current input, high current output to go to the next one, but it's called a branch board because the idea is that you have this trunk line of high current LED data going through it, but then you want to create a branch off of it to loop around and get to the areas that you need to on your pinball machine. And I'll go over that in a little bit more detail once we get this all connected for a demo. And some good news and bad news about the branch boards. Despite everything I do to try and get everything perfect the first time, I actually made a mistake on these boards. So the labeling is actually backwards as far as in and out go. So on this side it says in, and on that side it says out, so you would normally think that data flow would go that way. I got the labels wrong, so the data flow actually needs to go that way. So this is the input side, and it's just the opposite of all of these little arrows. So what I've done is I've marked out in black Sharpie all of the input and output labels on the back side. So if you get a board like this and it's got black Sharpie on it, you need to do the opposite direction that the silk screen says. So that's the bad news. The good news is, since I made this mistake, I am going to post these at a discount. So these will be at a discounted price, and just be careful. Make sure you check for the black lines and do the opposite direction for the data that it says on the board. And of course, I will fix this in the next rev. Now the twig boards, similar concept here. We've got our input and output connectors with the 3-pin like I have on my other products, but then I have added this 4-pin. And what this 4-pin is for is I have a couple of products, the star post LEDs and the dome and pop bumper LEDs, that are actually 4-pin devices because it incorporates 5 volts, data in, data out, and ground. And so this is an easier way to connect those rather than trying to solder something together. So I'll show those in the demo as well. Alright, so here I have a quick little demo for you. So the idea here is that from your CobraPin board, this is an old hacked together one that I use for LED testing. From your CobraPin board or whatever controller that you're using that supports serial LEDs, you have your main trunk line that goes here. Normally this would be a heavier gauge wire, like 18 gauge. I'm only using 22 because it's just for a test. So you've got your main trunk, and then you get to your branch board and you create your branch. And this is the branch here. It's this loop of LEDs that you've got connected up. And then here's an example of a twig board, where off of this branch you have this little 4-pin twig for this pop LED, and then your trunk continues on to the next branch and you can create another branch, another loop. So let's turn the LEDs up a little bit because I've got these under bright lights and they're not showing up that well. So now we're showing our LEDs here. Got different versions. These can be used for inserts or for GI lights with my associated light pipes. These are the GI kits that I sell. So there's 10 of them in the line here. And we got the dome lights. So how many LEDs should you add to your branch? Well, in this example, I have 20 LEDs in a branch. I've got the 10 here, 2 here, and another 8 on the dome LED. So generally, I would recommend less than 30 LEDs per branch, and that ensures that each LED gets the maximum voltage possible so that you can maintain good color rendition. If the LEDs lose voltage, then the blue channel of the LED starts to fade a little bit, and you end up with kind of a color skew throughout your LEDs, and it can cause some instability where they might want to flicker a little bit. Now, of course, I said that you should keep your branch lengths less than 30 LEDs. Really, it's based on a total length sort of idea. So if you have a number of these multi-LED rings in there, the distance between each successive LED is very small, so you can put more of them on a branch at a time. So, you know, if you wanted to put 5 of these 8 LED dome lights on a branch, that's 40 LEDs, but I don't really think it would be much of a problem just because the total length of the power path is still relatively short. Everything is a rule of thumb. You'll have to do your own testing to see what works best for you. Another one of my goals behind creating a setup like this is to keep the power and ground as close as possible to the signal at all times. One of the things that people commonly do is they'll have their normal LED chain and then they'll drop power and ground in at different places, but it doesn't actually follow with the signal, and that can cause signal integrity issues. So in this arrangement, you always have power and ground running right next to your signal. Okay, so why did I even bother making these boards? Really, this is a continuation of an effort that I've gone through to connectorize my LED products. I took this particular test setup to the Golden State Pinball Festival last year to show people kind of different lighting products that I had. So star posts, dome and pop LEDs, inserts, GI lights. Something that people noted was, oh, that's great that you have all this stuff, but then they look at the bottom and they're like, oh, I don't want to do all that soldering. That looks miserable. So maybe you should think about something else. That got me down the line of connectorizing everything. And that's how I ended up with these connectorized LEDs. But still, you were kind of limited in how you were able to connect everything. So I thought it would be good to essentially take this test setup and outfit it with the new branch and twig boards to show that you end up with an easier assembly with these products. Okay, I got this all modified. Couple things that I changed. I put this little lens on the 3/4 inch hole, and then I swapped out my GI kit with a light pipe. So the insert and the GI is actually using the same LED underneath. It's just this one has a light pipe on it. So let's take a look at the underside. So I haven't connected all the wires yet, but just wanted to show. So each one of the dome lights, pop lights, and the star post LED requires a twig board. So I've got 4 pin connectors on each one of those. So I'll just hook those into the twigs. All right, got those good to go. So now it's time to complete the branch. So here's our branch board. Again, it's opposite of what the label says. So this says out, so that's actually the input. So we will start there. And this will be the beginning of the branch. Go to DN on that GI light. D out to the pop bumper. D out on that pop bumper to the input on the star post twig. Star post twig to this insert. Insert to the dome. And the dome back to the output. All right, so that completes our branch here. Let's see, I believe this is 26 lights, so it's 3 8 LED rings, 3 8 LED rings plus 2. So that's our 26 LED branch. And then we can connect this up to your controller. And this can always go out to the next branch, next set of LEDs. So we'll get that set up there. All right, now we're really lit up. Okay. And there you have it. Just created a branch with a simple in and out. So now you're good to go and program the rest of the lights. All right, so I got the show set up here just for demonstration, and I turned off one of my lights so you can see it a little bit better. But this is just an example show that's running to show swirling effects and flashing and everything. So there you have it. That is setting up a branch of LEDs. Pretty simple. All right, thanks for joining me for a fresh Friday for new PCBs from CobraPin. I've got the branch boards and the twig boards available on my Pinside shop, so go ahead and check it out if you are interested in building a pinball machine, or you just want to connect up some LED lights and you happen to be connectorized in this same way. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you find these products useful. Please let me know in the comments below or send me a message on Pinside. Thanks again for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.